It all for the next couple of weeks. We are talking all playoffs all the time. This is GMFB, Nate Burleson, Peter Schrager, Kyle Brett. Big show.
Huge show. We're going to talk a lot about new head coaches, of course, but also we got some coaches who are new to the playoffs.
Okay.
Matty LaFleur right there. He's never been. He's had a bye week to think about it. Some of these guys have never tasted those playoff waters. We're going to play a little game of Heads Up Coach where we pick up masks on sticks. Nate closes his eyes. It gets really theatrical. Shanman, welcome to the postseason. And since it is playoff football, it's very cold outside here in New York.
Oh.
That doesn't stop us. We don't care. We're looking at some of the best division round moments. What is that? What do you got?
That's a little playoff football in my early days with the Seattle Seahawks. Urlacher, get off me!
Wow, Nate Vasher get off me, too.
Nate Vasher!
And it's Tuesday. Nate's got toe drag. I see some smoke out there in the field. Was there a good playoff toe drag, Nate?
Yeah, what about some angry runs?
So good. We'll get ferocious. We call it angry round. What playoff team has already called it shot on Twitter that they're going to win the angry runs this weekend? They've gone on there and said, we gotta watch. I'm telling you, I'm not kidding.
How do you feel about how Jane Slater has done covering this Cowboys story?
Legend.
He went to Cabo and Zeke watch. It's time for the lead block.
Time for the lead block.
Lead block.
No one's in Cabo, definitely not Jane Slater, but she was there for that, for Zeke watch and, of course, for Jason Garrett watch. And now she's bringing us everything we need to know about the Cowboys' hiring of head coach Mike McCarthy. Jane Slater in Frisco. What should we be watching out for next in Dallas?
Thanks, Kay. Well, as Mike McCarthy continues to flesh out his coaching staff, there are still coaches inside this building that have both expiring contracts as well as current contracts. They have not heard from him yet either. Except Rod Marinelli, the defensive coordinator in Dallas, seems to think he will not be a part of this staff and says he's made no decisions about his future. Instead, he had this to say, telling me, quote, "Only thing I know is they can't send me back to Vietnam. After that, it's cake." Outlook is always forward. That's the sort of guy we've come to know in Dallas, a guy that the players have admired, both for the way that he challenged them on the football field, but also off of it as well. As soon as we get more information about the staff and who they will retain, of course, we'll be giving you that information. I was told that we can expect a press conference of sorts later this week. Everything, of course, is still fluid. Okay?
Appreciate you later, Slater. Here's a look at Mike McCarthy's career as a head coach, taking the year off after being fired, of course, but he is 10-8. In the playoffs, he's won 6 division titles in his 13 seasons in Green Bay, and highlighted there, a Super Bowl ring. Mike McCarthy does have that experience under his belt, coaching future Hall of Famer quarterback Aaron Rodgers. What will hiring Mike McCarthy mean for Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott and for the rest of that offense really going forward?
It's going to help him evolve. And I'm looking at the comparisons between Aaron Rodgers and Dak Prescott. I know people at home are saying, wait a minute, Nate, it's Aaron Rodgers, one of the greatest to ever play this game. But if you look back to the first impression that Mike McCarthy had when he saw a young Dak Prescott in the playoffs going blow for blow, throw for throw with his quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, like that right there told him enough that he had to see in Dak Prescott. His ability to use his legs, very similar. You can almost say that Dak Prescott might be faster, and when it comes to break tackle, he has a little bit more. His ability to throw any ball on the field, he can do that. The only thing that isn't a direct comparison is his accuracy. And you can work on those things. Now, I'm not saying that he isn't accurate. I'm just saying that Aaron Rodgers is a different level of that. So when you look at the similarities, I know Mike McCarthy's coming in saying, I see a lot of the same qualities in a young Dak Prescott that I saw in a young Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I mean, to compare anybody to Aaron Rodgers is like comparing a human to an alien. Aaron Rodgers does things on the football field that no one else can possibly do, maybe outside of Patrick Mahomes. However, I do know that Mike McCarthy, now talking to sources in the last 24 hours, sold the Cowboys organization on, I want to work with Dak. Like, I want to work with Dak. I've watched all these quarterbacks. I've had the year off. I've been able to do the film study. Dak Prescott has got it. He's got it. I'm not sure if every other coach meeting with the Cowboys was selling Jerry Jones on that. Furthermore, Mike McCarthy used this year off to spend some time on himself and his own priorities and his family life and what he can bring to the team. He's a different man. From everyone that I've spoken to said, have you spoken to Mike McCarthy? I said, well, we text here and there, whatever. That this guy used this year to both reflect, to focus on his family, and then to be able to watch football from outside the football bubble. He was there for 12 years coaching with the Packers. 9 years with the Packers. He had 12 years before that. He's always been a football coach. Now he's almost like an evolved human being where he can look at this thing from a 30,000-foot view, blew the Cowboys brass away by saying, I love football. I'm not just a football coach. I'm more than that. I could be the leader of the Dallas Cowboys. And I think Dak Prescott might be the greatest recipient of that guidance.
This broke right at the end of our show yesterday. It was kind of sprung on us. We've had 24 hours to think about it. When it happened, I was like, I like this. And I was kind of surprised.
You used the word prudent.
It was prudent. And now that I've had a day to think about it, I think I like it even more because I've been thinking about the knocks against this hire, and I don't believe in them. There's people bringing up that he really didn't have much of a run game at the end. What are you going to do with Zeke? Well, he didn't have Zeke in Green Bay. At one point, he had Eddie Lacy and went back-to-back 1,100-yard seasons. Zeke can do that. And the biggest one by far, he only won one Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. Let me ask you this. Do you think Pete Carroll's a good coach? How many he won with Russ? How many did Tony Dungy win with Peyton Manning? How many has Sean Payton won with Drew Brees? One. Guys, we keep going. How many has Mike Tomlin won with Ben Roethlisberger? One. It's one Super Bowl, guys. He got to a Super Bowl. Dallas has not gotten to a Super Bowl in 25 years. That's an improvement. And this idea that he's Jason Garrett again and it's this. Do you remember Mike McCarthy? He used to blow gaskets on the side. If you want fire, you're going to get fire. Yep. You're going to get running game, and you may get a Super Bowl because he's been there. This is a good hire.
His last season there, they were like the most unbalanced team, especially offensively in the National Football League. They threw the ball 70% of the time, so him inheriting Zeke, him being able to add some balance should give him success. If I'm a Cowboys fan, I know they don't have their coordinators picked out yet. I want to know if he's going to retain his play calling that he did that throughout his entire tenure with the Packers. I know it had something to do with Aaron Rodgers, but I wonder if part of this evolution was taking more of a macro, I'm leading a team, I'm not going to be play calling, because that seemed to get in his way at certain points of his career in Green Bay.
I've heard that there's not been a final word, but that Kellen Moore, he has a chance to still be with the team, and that Kellen Moore did a lot of positive things, and McCarthy was impressed with that. And in the interview process was by no means saying Kellen Moore did anything wrong with this offense. Now on the defensive side of the ball, I think we could see a lot of widespread changes on defense in the Cowboys organization. Offense, they might keep that gang together.
The Giants, Browns, Panthers all searching for new head coaches. Triggs, what are we hearing? What's going on at the carousel?
All right, so yesterday, Waco, Texas, Matt Rule's house, the Carolina Panthers brass came in and met with the Baylor coach. They were wined and dined by Rule, and they wined and dined him and said, here, what can you provide us as being the head coach, and here's what we could provide you. That's a big one. Rule, though, today is the day for him. He's going to be interviewing with the New York Giants. It's on the back cover.
Come on the show.
New York Post right here, Matt Rule. This is what everyone is saying is the leader in the clubhouse for the New York Giants. He'll be meeting with Dave Gettleman. He'll be meeting with John Mara. He'll be meeting with Kevin Abrams. Might be meeting with Steve Tisch as well. So for Matt Rule, today is a big day. Yesterday was a big day. But the guy that everyone's really focused on, and is he actually going to leave, is Josh McDaniels. Let's see what Josh McDaniels has up ahead.
We've got
his entire schedule coming up here because Josh McDaniels today is going to meet with the Panthers. That is as of last night. Today he is scheduled with the Panthers. Then he will meet with the Browns, and then he will meet with the Giants. So there's a lot of moving parts here. You got Matt Rule, you got Josh McDaniels. This guy right here is meeting with all three teams. And he's meeting with them, but there's no guarantee they're going to offer him a job. And furthermore, there's no guarantee he's going to leave his job. We've been down this road before. And if you look at those three organizations, they present very different options at the quarterback position, and they present very different options for a head coach and very different traditions and histories as organizations. Josh McDaniels right now is really had the microscope on him because if there's going to be a year to leave, he's got three really good opportunities and three interviews up ahead in the next few days to go get them.
So, Nate and Kyle, out of those three locations, what do you think is the most desirable landing spot for any prospective head coach? Let's say that they get to pick where they're going to go.
Panthers, I would say the New York
Giants or Browns.
I would say the New York Giants. You have a young quarterback. You saw some promise. Daniel Jones, there's a lot of people call him Daniel Dimes. He had some great throws. He used his athletic ability this year. He had some fumble issues. You can fix that. You can teach a quarterback how to protect the ball. You got Saquon Barkley, who could be the best running back in football if you get him some help. It seemed like he was carrying too much of the load last year. That's how he ended up on the sideline. The one question is, what are they going to do with the wide receiver position? Because they pay Sterling Shepard, Golden Tate. I'm not sure these guys are necessarily true number ones. Do you try to move one of those guys and then bring in a number one? But they have to get a pass rusher. They have to get after quarterbacks. That's what the NFC is built off of. They need to shore up that defensive side of the ball. And then at the very end, it's New York City, baby. Like, why not come to this market?
$65 million in cap space and a top 5 pick for this.
That sounds good. The Giants and Browns know who their quarterback's going to be next year. Carolina is fascinating to me, and maybe it's because you mentioned a house in Waco, and I'm thinking of Chip and Joanna. But like, I look at the Carolina Panthers right now. They got some great pieces. Like McCaffrey's incredible, and Samuel's breakout, and Kuechly and stuff. But it's a great house, and like the kitchen is just a mess, and the kitchen is the quarterback. I don't know what to do. Do you want to be the coach who comes in and says we're going to get rid of Cam Newton? That's going to be my first step. Do we have an open competition between Kyle Allen and Will Grier to start my administration? Are you bringing in a free agent? You're in North Carolina. Phillip Rivers played college ball there. Like, there's a lot of potential. I think it's a yin and a yang, and that, like, I don't know who my quarterback is, but I also kind of like that I might get to dictate my quarterback instead of the last regime giving me Daniel Jones or Baker.
What is your honest hesitation with Cleveland if you're a prospective head coach? Because there's talent there. You could go